All right, welcome to InsideFlix. We're going to be talking about Comic-Con. Comic-Con was just this past weekend. There were some big announcements, and we kind of want to go through it. Let's start with some smaller stuff. Like, we got the first trailer for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. This is the Chris Pine vehicle, and this, of course, is based on the legendary tabletop role-playing game. What was your feelings of seeing the first footage, which came online?
Personally, for myself, it was a bit disappointing because when I hear Dungeons and Dragons, I'm thinking of something kind of like, Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, and it looks kind of more like, I don't know, like Your Highness, the Danny McBride movie. It's not for me. I'll just say that, but seeing online, the reactions from people that actually play Dungeons and Dragons, it seems like they're getting the movie they want, and I hope that the people that like this tabletop game end up getting, a movie to satisfy them. But I know for myself, I have no interest in seeing this.
Yeah, it's from the team that did Game Night, and they are they're mostly known for comedy. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they work better with comedy, straight comedy. This is more of an action piece. Mixed with comedy.
Comedy, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't feel that great to me, but it seems like most of the game fans liked it. But to me, it just seemed a little average.
It doesn't look horrible. It looks like something I'd watch maybe on streaming, but not in theaters. This isn't like a movie I would go see in theaters.
Yeah, I was disappointed by it. I mean, not that I expected much from the Dungeons and Dragons movie, because there was a couple attempts before this, and those were terrible. I when I finished watching it, I go, Chris Pine got to fire his agent. He's picking like the wrong projects for him to star in. I couldn't get over the fact that a lot of these cast members were, having American accents. Not that should make a difference.
Yeah, it throws you off. It makes it feel like you're, I don't know. It takes you out of the movie or out of the trailer.
Especially when they're doing like this type of comedy. Actually, the movie itself reminded me of a Jeff Bridges fantasy movie that came out in the early 2000s, 2010 or something like that, called Seventh Son, which was a huge box office bomb.
Oh.
The whole kind of quirkiness or just awkwardness of that movie feels like that like this movie. And it shouldn't be, because it's a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
You know what's another movie that this kind of reminds me of, unfortunately for this film? Kind of reminds me of that, like, I don't know, mid-2000s movie, Aragon.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of feels like all those movies that came after Lord of the Rings. A lot of kind of knockoffs, a lot of based on, like, these smaller kind of fantasy books that really never really kind of broke through like Lord of the Rings did. So, I don't know. It's unfortunate, because I think there's a huge following. Of course, everyone knows Dungeons and Dragons, so there's a built-in kind of awareness of the movie. Like I said before, I was kind of disappointed with the trailer.
But they got plenty of time to work on it. It's still a ways away. It's March 3rd, 2023. So.
Well, and earlier in the Comic-Con, Keanu Reeves appeared in one of these panels, and he presented the first footage from John Wick Chapter 4. And unlike like Dungeons and Dragons trailer, I was really psyched by this teaser trailer, because at this point, I was kind of getting tired of the John Wick franchise. But seeing the footage here for Chapter 4, man, I didn't realize how much I want this type of action again. What was your feelings of watching John Wick Chapter 4?
Well, it's a 1-minute teaser, so I mean, it's very quick. But I mean, like you're saying, it totally delivers. I mean, the John Wick franchise, with every installment always ups the ante, and it looks like with this one, they're going to definitely get pretty innovative. I saw a lot of sword play in there, it looked like in the trailer, and that's exciting. That's one of the things I think has been kind of lacking a bit in the John Wick franchise. So, it looks good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I also agree. And I thought the third chapter was pretty inventive with the horses they added to it, the horse stunts. Yeah, I'm very interested to see the difference in this one, too. But yeah, it's good to see new characters involved in this one, especially Donnie Yen and Bill Skarsgård. But yeah, it's an early look, and I like it. I mean, I'm interested in the full title.
What I really liked about the trailer was that, the arrival of Donnie Yen in this film, where he brings a certain kind of gravitas to the franchise. And, because before he kind of it was John Wick just fighting a bunch of nameless, faceless kind of villains or assassins. But now that you bring in Donnie Yen, who comes with this kind of history of action films and martial arts films, that's something. That's like something you could like base your kind of expectation on. That's something that feels very exciting. So if they continue with the John Wick franchise, I would like to see more kind of established action stars coming in.
In the last John Wick movie, they featured a couple of the actors from the Raid films, but I personally didn't really like the way they were utilized in that film. I'm really hoping that, it's Donnie Yen. He's a big name, so I'm hoping that, in this installment we're going to get some, great martial arts and stuff.
And also very shocked that Keanu Reeves can still move
Kick
like
ass.
he moves. Yeah, still can kick ass and still doesn't.
I know, you would think based off the last Matrix movie that he can't, because all he did in that movie was like move his hands like, duh, you know what I mean?
What the John Wick franchise has established with Keanu Reeves is that he actually is a very good action star. And you feel like he could take on Donnie Yen. You could feel like John Wick could kick Donnie Yen's ass in this one. And that's what I really liked about the trailer.
It's not like one of the recent Steven Seagal movies where they have him go up against a young guy or something.
Or even like the Expendables, where you just see a bunch of old dudes saying, "Hey, brother, come on, brother, let's do this for the team," But like I said, this teaser really got me going, and I was very excited. For at least the first 2 days, John Wick won the Comic-Con. Then it came Saturday, and it was a totally different story.
And it was a surprise also because, there wasn't a planned John Wick panel or anything. This, Keanu just showed up during a Collider panel that was, I think, for, directors. They were just having a conversation with, I think, Tim Miller, the Deadpool director, and I think Andrew Stanton. I don't remember. Oh, and the John Wick director. And then he just showed up out of nowhere and presented the trailer. And
Well, speaking of that Colliders panel, Tim Miller, who is the director of Deadpool, he kind of announced that he's has a green lit on that project, The Goon, which is an animated series with David Fincher that he's produced with David Fincher. So this was something that was in the works for years.
Yeah, wow, we went to a panel where they talked about this literally 20 years ago.
Yeah. This was like Dead in the Water. This was a dead project. This was based on the Dark Horse comic book, The Goon. And it features the voices of Paul Giamatti and Clancy Brown in this.
And they're still returning for it.
I'm not sure, but they were featured in the test footage. But it seems
20 years ago,
which is, I think you can still watch online. They announced that Netflix has greenlit the project.
Awesome. I mean, I guess Love, Death, Robots did really well for them.
Okay, let's talk about 2 big panels that came out this Comic-Con weekend, the DC panel and the Marvel panel. Let's start with DC. We got the first official trailer for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. What's your thoughts on the footage you saw?
Well, personally, I loved the first Shazam. It was like a big surprise. I was excited for the movie. I mean, the trailer looked great, but I was just so blown away by how fun the movie was. And this one looks like it's going to, continue that. It looks to me just as entertaining as the last one. I actually think the trailer for this is better than the trailer for the first Shazam. And I'm hyped. I mean, the one of the most entertaining parts of the first Shazam was the third act when the whole family, becomes superheroes. And again, they're going to expand on that, and I'm looking forward to it.
I enjoyed the first Shazam. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't expect to enjoy it that much, but watching this trailer, I was kind of disappointed because I think they went more of a kid-friendly version to this one, even more than the first one. This one, Helen Mirren and at least Lucy Liu, it just seems off. It just seems a little off. I'm not too impressed by how they could be the big bad in this one.
I don't have that issue at all. To me, I mean, Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren are kind of an upgrade from Mark Strong in the last film. And nothing against Mark Strong. I thought he was great, but I'm excited to see Helen Mirren as a villain and Lucy Liu. I think the way that they're handling the whole, they're the daughters of what is it of Atlas or whatever. It reminds me of Thor. I'm I watched this trailer. I'm like, oh, this is what Thor 4 should have been. But to me, it looks fun.
I was a little underwhelmed. I'm not a big Zachary Levi fan.
No.
I liked him in Chuck. I really love Chuck, the series, but everything that came afterwards, I just don't like him in. And although I did like the first Shazam movie, I was surprised that I liked it so much. So my expectations for this film is still high because of the director, David F. Sandberg. I think he's a really good, strong director. Although he has these horror roots. With Shazam, the first movie, he really kind of has turned out to be someone in the vein of like Robert Zemeckis or even Steven Spielberg. He can do these high concept genre films, but do it in a way that feels kind of new and thrilling. So I still have hope for the movie, but I was not too impressed by the trailer. I don't like the idea that like, and this is like typical sequel-itis for comic book movies, but usually the superhero has like this doubt, he feels like he's not worthy of his powers. And, you see this in like the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 film.
Or Superman 2 as well.
Yeah, it's a kind of common trope. And I hopefully that's not the whole point of this whole movie.
That was the point of all 4 Thor movies.
Yes. So that's the thing that I focused on the trailer. I go, oh, we're going to do this story again where the superhero just feels like he has imposter syndrome or something.
Yeah, he has to prove himself.
He has to prove himself again. And just, I don't know, I feel like there are so many comic book movies before this that had done the same concept. And so I wasn't impressed by the trailer. But like I said, David F. Sandberg, I think he's a really great director. And I think he might come up with some new things that doesn't feel tired, but we'll see. Let's get into like Black Adam now. We got a new sneak peek of the movie that's starring Dwayne Johnson, and he came out with a full-on Black Adam outfit to address the crowd. What was your feelings of seeing this Comic-Con sneak peek?
It's just another quick teaser, but this one actually has shows some sequences of the Dr. Fate and Hawkman and Atom Smasher and even the new girl Cyclone. But it's still not enough to woo me over completely. I'm still hesitant to see if the director of Jungle Cruise could pull it off. But I do like the look of it. They stuck to the Zack Snyder-ish type look.
Yeah, for myself, I really enjoyed this new look at the movie. I actually did not like the original trailer we got, specifically because I was just getting a very kind of Dwayne Johnson $7 production vibe from it. It felt a lot like like Jungle Cruise or like any one of Dwayne Johnson's movies that's come out over the past 6-7 years, and I wasn't feeling it. And to me, Dwayne Johnson didn't even come off like the character he's supposed to be playing. He just kind of came off like Dwayne Johnson doing his whole wrestling thing, and I just wasn't feeling the first trailer. But this new one, while it's not a whole lot different, it really, like Richard was saying, really focuses on the whole JSA. And I mean, the bits of action that we got in this new look amazing. Like Richard was saying, we get a big kind of Zack Snyder vibe, and it looks awesome. It looks badass. But I'm still a little dubious about this movie because I am worried that it's going to kind of just be another generic Dwayne Johnson product.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like the footage. The question is, can Dwayne Johnson pull this off? He's supposed to be like an anti-hero, but in this movie, it seems like he's going to be a villain, more of a villain. And I do like the idea that they're introducing the Justice Society of America, JSA. And I love Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate in this one. Again, it really comes down to Dwayne Johnson as an actor. And so far in his last couple movies, he really just kind of plays into kind of that charismatic guy. And Black Adam is not that character. He needs to be kind of a dark person. But I'll say this, I do like kind of that tagline in the trailer where Dr. Fate says, you could either be the destroyer of this world or you could be its savior. And that thing I liked a lot because that means like the character is going to be conflicted somehow. It's a promising sneak peek, I'll say that.
Sure.
All right, so before we get to Marvel, let's talk really quick about the Henry Cavill misunderstanding or debacle or this rumor that he was going to appear in the DC panel and announce that he's going to be back as Superman. That didn't happen. People were actually very angry about this. What was your feelings about this? Should we have fallen for this story? Because it seems like it was based on nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like it was based on nothing. I mean, there had been rumors going around for about, I think, over a month that he was going to show up at Comic-Con. But it was never from any credible sources. But then out of nowhere, like I think a couple days before Comic-Con, what was it, Rich? Deadline? They put out that that they heard rumors that Henry Cavill was going to be at the panel to talk about the future of Superman, and that didn't happen. And I mean, I think a lot of us should have never expected that to happen. But at the same time, oh man, like screw that person that works at Deadline to put that out, because I thought the two trailers they put out were awesome, and then really Henry Cavill not showing up really just brought everything down and pretty much just ruined the DC panel.
The latest spark that really started it all was when Warner Brothers Discovery said that they wanted to bring back Superman in some form of way.
Yes.
And that's when it all started. And I mean, it's still a possibility that Superman does show up on Black Adam the film.
I'm going to say something really quick. The big rumor is that he does show up in the movie, but it's another Shazam cameo where you don't see his face.
like
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, right?
So let's get into Marvel now. Well, let's talk about like the big moment of the con, which is the first footage for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is the sequel, the much anticipated sequel. It's Ryan Coogler's return to direct and co-write the second Black Panther feature. Of course, he has to deal with the shocking, untimely death of the franchise lead star Chadwick Boseman. People were highly curious about this, anticipating this. And so what was your feelings watching the trailer for the first time?
Well, I mean, Ryan Coogler definitely had a giant feat against him. This was a movie that seemed doomed, really. And watching the trailer, I was absolutely blown away. I think the movie looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And really, like, when you think about the first Black Panther, like, yeah, I love that movie. I love Chadwick Boseman in that film. But it was really an ensemble movie. So watching this trailer, before watching the trailer, I was thinking, like, how the hell do you make a Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman? But now watching it, I'm like, no, I mean, you kind of can. It seems like they're getting away with it. This is going to be a war film, essentially, with Wakanda and Atlantis, is it? And it looks very promising to me. And it was a very emotional trailer. I mean, you really feel, I guess the absence and presence at the same time of Chadwick, and it looks like the movie's gonna be a real love letter to the guy, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the teaser too. I mean, it's all Ryan Coogler's vision. I mean, I think he really stepped it up for this film too, because I think he was really inspired by Chloe Zhao's vision for the Eternals and how epic a scope. I mean, I think he really stepped up, especially with the beginning scenes.
While watching the trailer, also, I think one of the reasons why it was so good for me is because I'm very burned out on the MCU. Like, all their movies and TV shows have been, like, overly comical. And then you watch this, and I don't think there was, like, one joke in the trailer. Like, it looks very serious. I mean, it should be serious. But that, for me, makes it feel very, very refreshing. Because while the first Black Panther did definitely have humor, one of the things that made Black Panther so special to me was I thought they kind of took it to the next level. And what I mean by that is they went out of their way to give every single character in the supporting cast like their own little arc and really just flesh everyone out to the point that I feel like a lot of the characters in the supporting cast felt even more full than T'Challa. Mm-hmm. And yeah, now this one is going to go more in a dramatic direction, and yeah, I mean the MCU desperately needed a movie with this serious tone again.
Yeah, I was totally impressed by the trailer. I was also emotionally wrapped by what the movie was trying to say, trying to pay respects to Chadwick and also pay respect to the character T'Challa. After I watched the trailer, I go, this is going to win Oscars, and I don't say that lightly. I this has the potential to be an Oscar-worthy film. It's funny that you brought up Eternals. Yeah. The hype for Eternals was that was this going to be the Marvel's first Oscar winner,
right?
And how the director was using real landscapes and all that stuff. And I just didn't see it when I saw the movie. But with this teaser alone, I go, man, this could deliver what Eternals promised. This could be like a really stunning superhero movie.
Yeah.
Also, it's a very kind of interesting that they're making Namor kind of like a Mayan Inca type of character. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, because I mean, we already know in the third act of the movie, there's going to be some type of scene where there's a misunderstanding and Atlantis and Wakanda will probably team up against the greater evil. I mean, that's just how these movies go, right? But making Atlantis like Latino, I think it's very interesting because I wonder if there's got to be some type of social commentary there in the movie, right? I mean, there was social commentary in the first Black Panther, and there has to be some here now, right?
The rumor is that Wakanda is going to go up against Atlantis.
It's going to be a commentary on foreign policy?
Most likely. I mean, that was the first movie, right? Mm-hmm. I'm all for it.
Me too.
At the end of the day, this is like I would say, one of the best Marvel trailers I've seen in a very long time.
I'd say it's one of their best trailers, period.
And going back to the Oscars consideration, I think Angela Bassett's delivery for just that line alone in the trailer, I mean, I think she's going to get nominated, for this film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a monumental achievement by Ryan Coogler pulling off this movie. Now let's talk about a disappointing Marvel trailer. Let's talk about She-Hulk.
From the highs to the lows.